This is a particularly tricky cut here I'm going to try to make. See if I can pull it off or not. Not sure if I'll be able to do it or not at this point, but we'll soon find out. Here's the cutout that I'll be making out of the tile. Obviously this spot right here is the real suspect point that may break, and so we'll give this a try, see what happens here. To get going on this cut, I'm not sure there's a specific best way that I have in mind when I start. It's primarily trying to get rid of everything that you don't need. So I start by making an obvious cut down the center that will allow me to get rid of roughly half the tile. The next cut is definitely the most challenging of the whole process, where I'm basically making a plunge cut into the center of the tile. I'm actually resting the tile at an angle against the edge of the cutting table and sliding it into the blade. The trick to this is trying to get as deep a cut as possible on your line while keeping track of the front part of the blade as well as the back part of the blade. To make this cut successfully will save quite a bit of time later, but you have to be careful not to let the tile get in a bind. So making sure it is resting against the edge of the cutting table helps keep the tile straight. What comes next is just a series of relief cuts. It's a little tedious, but this is really the most effective way to remove the tile in the center of the cut. Plus it allows you to begin to shape the curved corners and try to get to the plunge cut line. The main thing to keep in mind if you're attempting something like this is just to take your time. Probably took me about 10 minutes to make this cut. If you get in a hurry and make a mistake, then you have to start all over again. Normally, if I can't make a successful cut in about 2 attempts, then there's a pretty good chance that I couldn't make that cut on 4 attempts. So it's probably best to go ahead with a simpler cut. I'm not sure what I was thinking here, but I think I was trying to see if I could position the tile in a different way to cut out more of the interior, and in so doing I tapped the blade and almost broke my piece, and that would have been really annoying. Finally, on a cut like this, I often flip the tile over and work from the backside in the final stages of the cut. I find that since the bottom edge of the tile is what will be up against a wall or corner, if you cut that area back a little bit, it can often save you from having to trim the tile any further when you're test fitting it later. The final step is just to clean up the cut a little, then see if it fits. You'll notice that I'm holding the tile up and kind of freehanding a lot of times rather than laying it flat on the sliding table. The reason for this is that I'm trying to get the blade to make as flat a cut as possible, so holding the tile in this way offsets the curve that's on the blade when it's being laid flat on the table. Well, looks like it fit okay, and I didn't break the piece trying to get it out after test fitting. The final things I would say are just to throw in a few words of caution if you're doing this at home and are not very experienced with using a tile saw like this. The safest thing to do is to make straight cuts with your tile placed flat on the sliding table. Any variation from this starts to introduce more safety issues. Also, different types of tile will cut differently than what you see in this video. This particular tile cut like butter, so it made this cut look easier than it would have with many other types of tile. I'm pretty confident that any type of natural stone tile would have broken during the process of trying to cut this configuration. So in cases like that, you just make a cut across the thin portion of the tile and butt the two pieces tightly together. There are definitely easier ways to go than trying to make this kind of difficult cut. I quit holding my breath now. It may just be me, but I think paying attention to those kinds of details adds up and makes the overall job turn out much better.